Today comes with a very simple and direct topic. We are only going to look into the team formation and overview for the new season. Judging from the previous friendly matches late July and early August, unfortunately, I could not find any channel and any ways to see the full match against Sevilla. So I could not draw any conclusion. I could not make any comments from the match. Because it is rather important to see this match as Alves Roda put on other possible starting lineup for the coming matches in the first half of the new season. Well, I still doubt about that. I'm going to talk about it later in this episode. So I could not talk about the match against Sevilla, apart from looking into the highlights and also the match report. But I could have my own impression. I mean the first impression for the new team under the direction of Alves Roda. Fortunately, I could see the two tests speedily and late July, so I could go over a lot of players' performance, because in those two matches we could also see the performance of our bench players. So I could somehow see how the team is going to be in the 2019 and 20 season. Well, starting from, I think it is better to start from the squad. Well, as a non-European participating, I think we have a rather impro squad of 31 players. So it is fairly enough for Alves Roda to do the rotation. Especially if you look into those 31 players, I think not all of them could go into the Alves Roda new system, but I think most of them could be the very good substitute and also the starting players. So some critics would say, oh, we are losing a lot of very important central midfielders, including Demirbay and Amiri, but we still had a number of midfielders like Gilrich, Geiger, the recover Robert Zugi, and the youngster Gardner. Also have enough fullbacks and wingbacks, including Carter, Suber, Bernat, and also Staphylides. Not to mention the centre backs, we have a lot of ex-centre backs. Well, because we just loaned out Homa to Utrecht, so we have 8 in our current squad. That means we don't have 31 players, but we have around 29, subtracting Amiri and also Homa. We have 8 centre backs. That means we could fill 4 defenders at the time. But as you know, we have a lot of centre backs, but not the full back and wing backs. So for this type of setting, it is better for us to stick to the 3 centre backs formation. We are 8 centre backs, and it is it's also another problem how to fully utilize those 8 centre backs. Well, for sure, Kelvin Vogt, Hubner, and Adams, or even and Bikacic should be the regular starting lineup, but not to undermine Stefan Posch and Abu Kuma. Well, because they have been the rotating players in the last season, and I think Alves Roda would like to use the new player if either Apple Kuma or Stephen Bosch in place, the new coach. So I think they're quite a highly competitive season for the center backs, and I do not think those ex-players will be loaned out because for not fight and Lucas Ribeiro could play as a defensive midfielder. We are lacking the defensive midfielder. Judging from the friendly matches, I think Lucas Ribeiro could be a very good substitute. Because at the moment we only have Grealish as the box-to-box player. Well, he is not really the very strong defensive midfielder in my opinion. And Dennis Geiger, well, he becomes more offensive, and especially Elvis Roder used him as an offensive player. He is playing as a central midfielder rather than the defensive midfielder. So I think we would not loan out the so-called ex-center backs, but rather one or two players could be a very good supplement to the midfield area. And for the wingers and strikers, I think, well, we still have enough players and could do a number of rotation. I mean, the trial of different combinations. Well, in last seasons, Nagelsmann tried to rotate Issa Belfodil and Adam Salai. And well, if necessary, when the team is going behind, we have to use the two strikers together, and that was somehow effective. At least we could make a lot of crosses to the two center forward. This year we kept Belfodil and Salai. We just lost Joelinton. Well, but we have three new signings. Well, all of them could play as a wingers, and even one or two could play as a center forward. We have Robert Skov from FC Copenhagen, Elias Bilbao from Hanover, and Sajis Adamyan, the Armenia wingers or strikers coming from Jan Regensburg. Both of them could play in the flank area, but I think either Adamyan or Skov will be put in the center forward. Well, for Elias Bilbao, he could play in the wide areas. He is more flexible, and because he could initiate the attack and also making use of his pace and the dribbling skills to create a chance for himself. For Adamyan, I think he could play either as a striker or the wingers. But in the friendly matches, I think the coach would like him to play in the forward position. And Robert Skov, sorry, I didn't see the match against Sevilla, so I could not make any comments about him. But judging from his performance last season in FC Copenhagen, he is a real striker, and I would look forward to seeing his performance in the league matches. And could he be the very good substitute to Belfodil, Salai, or even Kamarek? And also, could he be a very real, very prolific goal scorer to our team? That is a very interesting thing to see. And this is rather simple to look into the central midfield position. I think Griffo and Bittencourt will be a very important core central midfield players, especially Griffo. I think Alves Roder built the team around him. He is very good at making the passes, and he is a free kick expert. Well, but the only weakness is that he sometimes holds the ball too long and deterred the attacking effectiveness. So that is his main weakness and main strength. It leaves to the Alves Roder to decide how could maximize his strengths for the team. And also Zuba will be another very important player in Hoffenheim. I think he is not necessary to be played as a fullback, because Stavridis will be the left wing backs in this season, and he will play prone to the central midfield areas and helping Stavridis to create the chances. So basically, it is the overview, a very brief overview of our squad in this season and the possible combinations drawing from the team. And it is a time for us to look into the formation and tactics. Well, formation. It is not surprising for Alves Roder to stick to the three center backs formation. In the friendly match, he also used either 3-4-3 or even 3-4-2-1 formation, and especially he stuck to this formation in the two test matches in late July. But I have to make a note to all of you that he switched to the four defenders formation in the late second half in the match against Sevilla. So he is not always the three center backs expert. He could change. He also change according to the situation, and he even tried to switch the team to the 5-4-1 formation in the match against Strasbourg. So we should not draw an early conclusion that he only played a very offensive football. Well, in general, he is very offensive minded, and well, that is not surprising because as an assistant coach to Nagelsmann, and also as an assistant coach in IS afterwards, so he wants to collaborate to two attacking mind system into the new Hoffenheim team. And we could find the similarity between him and Nagelsmann. Both would like to push the two wing backs forward, and then the wing backs and then shift in to occupy the half spaces with other central midfielders. That is the very prominent features for the two coaches, but there lies a major difference. First of all, not one difference, but I mean several differences. First of all, Hoffenheim dominated possession in the match. Well, during the reign of Nagelsmann, this is not necessary for Hoffenheim to dominate the possession. Well, apart from last season, because I think in most of the time last seasons, Nagelsmann tried to hold more possession. I mean throughout the season, and for Alves Roder, from the first friendly match, he already exhibits that, okay, I am the offensive minded coach. I want to hold the possession. This is another difference when comparing to Nagelsmann. I want to build the game from the back with short passes. One of the I would take one example from the test matches in late July. Well, I remember the possession start from Stavridis in the left, and then when he's go into the midfield areas, he makes the short passes to I remember to Super, and then Super making another pass another pass to him, and the Stavridis and then stop there and then make the pass to I forget because I think it's sorry, not Super, but Bittencourt. Sorry, it should be Bittencourt. And they were making 2 to 3 passes each other until Bittencourt goes wide into the left flank area, and then Stavridis stop in the midfield area, and then Bittencourt make the final pass to Salai, who is not in the central forward position, but in the midfield area, receiving the passes and then making the final passes back to Bittencourt. This kind of interplay is the very dominant feature in the new Elversrode formation. The passes and swift movements has become a very symbol to the new Elversrode team. And when we are talking about the 2 central midfielders, what are their roles? Their roles are also very important. Well, taking Gilrich and Geiger as an example, they try to find space and create the length for the passes. Well, they use different moments and patterns to create the chances, but sometimes they also came deeper in the build up, or I think acting lies as a number 6 or even number 4 to direct the play and direct the rhythm in the midfield areas while protecting the back 3. Sometimes they used to position deep and get themselves involved either in the build up or in the defensive areas. So these 2 central midfielder is very important in the new Elversrode formation, because they need to be very mobile. They need to be very highly physical and energetic. So overall, I think the team should be very, very physically demanding. And the third difference between Elversrode and Nagelsmann is that Elversrode do not oppress against the opponents. Well, he would prefer to leave 2 players in the front and waiting the opponents to commit the mistake and then snatch the ball from the opponents, but not encourage the team players to oppress and making tackles. But somehow they would still wait for the opponents to commit the mistake in the front and then press against the opponents when they see it is the chance for us to snatch your ball. And the fourth, I mean the difference. Well, actually, it is not a very big difference, because when Nagelsmann took the team, he also somehow encouraged the player at the back, especially the defenders, to make a long passes to the front, and it becomes more prominent in the friendly matches, such when we see the matches against Heerenveen, Verona, and Trabzonspor. So somehow you can say Elversrode is flexible, and for the long ball tactics, he would not use it every time. especially when you see he plays Camara or Bilbao as a central striker and the center forwards. He would not use the long passes. As you see, Bilbao and Camara, it's not a real center forward. But they are just the wingers or the strikers. Strikers and wingers is different, completely different to the center forwards. Based on the general characteristic, they are completely different things. Okay, so my first impression to Alvarez-Roeder is that he does not always stick to the three center backs formation, and he tries to use the tactics more flexible. Why do I still believe and trust him and not be pessimistic as other Hoffenheim fans for the team in the coming seasons? Is that Alvarez-Roeder is good at developing strategy and drills, and also good at monitor all the players during the practice session so that he could use the right player in the right matches. That were the very important responsibilities and job duties acting as a assistant coach. And he also participated in the session, and then so that he could know clearly how the team players progress and what devices and what program he or the team has to do in order to improve the overall training effectiveness. So I wouldn't say it would be a complete success in the new seasons. I would think that it needs at least half the seasons for the new coach to get familiar with the team. I'm still thinking that he is going to have this time to test and to make the experiments. You know, finding the right squad for a new team is not a very easy task. Even if you has been one of the team members in the previous seasons, but as you know, acting as a assistant coach and the head coach is completely different. As a head coach, you have more responsibility, and you have to think more about the team in order to make yourself ahead the other opponents. And in the coming months, this will be a very important transitional period for Alvarez-Roeder, and I think there will be no honeymoon period. Well, as I saw from the interview for the two management team members, I think Hoffenheim's board of management would like the team to clinch a place for the European competition next season. So it is a very huge task for Alvarez-Roeder. I hope he could adapt the pressure and then making use of his very good experience in the Champions League last season in IS, and hope that his philosophy in the teamwork interplay tactics could work in the new season.